Are we live? Are we late?
2 minutes. Not bad.
Are we live? Are we late? Are we? How's
Yes.
the microphone? Can anybody comment for me and tell me how my microphone is? If it's too loud or too low? I think I might need to crank her up a little bit.
Yeah, I'm not as loud as you.
Are we rolling? How's everybody doing? Giselle ST, is this only for patrons then? No, it's a public live chat. I'm not sure why you would ask that question. Hello from Australia, live. Mike is good. Hello, Charles. How are you? KF, Cody Hamlock, Jessica Gill, Amber S, Alex Schmidt. What's good? Valerie Villanueva, Preston Weeks, Wednesday Store Straight Jacket, Paranormal, HTD for life. What's that mean? Hunt the dead for life?
Yes.
Samuel L. Williams, Joe Mama, Natasha M., and Heather Mannion, Lil A. I'm from Mars. I thought like it was like InfoWars.
Oh.
InfoWars, Alex, what was his
Alex
name?
Jones.
Alex Jones. I'm
no,
from Mars.
I'm from Mars. Much better.
Tyler Wright, and that big long name, Robert Ruby. How's everybody doing? I just got back from the grocery store, and I saw this girl, a rather young lady, I'd say maybe late 20s, early 30s, and she was wearing a t-shirt that said, "I used to be married, but now I'm better." And for some reason that really cracked me up, man. I was like looking at this girl just laughing, and she was looking back at me, and she knew exactly why I was laughing.
Yeah.
So then she started laughing because I was laughing at her shirt. I'll never know her story. I'm a curious person, and it's people like that I always wonder, what is their story? What happened that made them wear that t-shirt?
She must have been very happily divorced.
Very unhappy within her marriage. Can you go ahead and read some comments and or questions?
Let's see. Everybody is saying where they're from. I've seen quite a few from Australia.
I always ask where people are from. I'm curious what time zone you're in. We did this at night. Pretty soon would typically be my bedtime. We did this at night, giving people a chance in the eastern United States to get off work and eat their dinner and yell at their kids and then join the live chat.
Let's see. Justin Rodriguez. Hello from Seattle.
What part of Seattle? I had some friends that used to live in University District. They lived right on University Way, directly across from the Blue Onion Bistro, if you know what I'm talking about.
Let's see. Okay, it's 11:45 in the morning in Australia. So that's a good time. Cool.
Yeah. As long as they don't have to go to school or work, that is
Okay.
a good time.
Hiro Tanaguchi from Japan says it's 9:45 a.m. here. Love your show. Well, thank you, Hiro.
Hey, you're from Japan. I was curious, is the band Shonen Knife still talked about in Japan? What was his name? Hiro?
Yeah.
Look out for his answer.
Okay, I will. Let's
Shonen
see.
Knife. When Nirvana didn't tour much in Japan, but the first time they did was after they had Shonen Knife open up for them in the States, right? Or maybe it was in Europe. And then Shonen Knife went back to Japan, and they were like a big deal in the press, and they talked really good of Nirvana. So by the time Nirvana came to Japan, everybody was already aware of who they were.
I see. Skinspiration says Scotland, 1:45 a.m. Ukraine. Ukraine, 3:46 in the morning from... Oh, that's
My
I'm
favorite-
from Mars. It's from Ukraine.
Two of the coolest people that I met during the time I spent with my friends in Seattle were from Ukraine, They got here by way of fishing boat through Russia to like Alaska, and then Alaska down to Washington. But they were really, really cool guys. What amazed me about them, they were Ukrainian and they didn't know English. They learned English in 8 months.
Oh, yeah.
In 8 fucking months, they were able to have a conversation with somebody speaking English.
They say the best way to learn is to just immerse yourself
dive into
in the
it.
culture. Right.
But my favorite gaming developers, GSC, they're from Ukraine. They developed an old PC game called Stalker. Stalker, what was it? There was Chernobyl.
Yeah.
It was all based around the Chernobyl nuclear accident. There's Call of Pripyat and another, I can't remember the other Stalker game, but
can't either.
they're considered like the godfathers of the modern RPG. First person shooter with a story and an open world. And a lot of the things you get in the Fallout series come from Stalker.
Yes.
And it was all created by these like 5 dudes in Ukraine.
Super creative.
And at the time, they had no fucking money because Russia was bombing the shit out of Ukraine. And, you know, I don't want to get into that, but...
Okay, let's see. 1:40 a.m. in London. 7:45 in Tulsa.
London.
And then 5:45 on the West Coast. So we've got people from all over here.
Hell yeah. Nirvana always stayed at... Man, I can't remember the name of that hotel. Whenever they went to London, they would stay at this little, like, mom-and-pop hotel. And they had like a room with 3 twin beds, one for Dave, one for Kurt, one for Chris, and it was like all lined up in a row. And the guy and his wife who owned it would like make them tea and cook
Like
them
a little
breakfast.
bed and breakfast.
Yeah.
Let's see. Okay, Hiro said Shonen Knife. I wasn't too familiar with them, but it seems they are still very active here, according to my friend. Cool.
Yeah, them girls got to be pretty old now. That's pretty rad that they would still be active. I'm not gonna lie to you. I never really got much into Shonen Knife. It's too bubblegum for me. Everything, even like today, like K-pop and stuff, it's just very bubblegum. You know, it's too uniform.
Yeah.
I like the chaos of punk rock and metal. I don't, you know.
Oh, somebody noticed my Star Wars shirt. Yes, may the Force be with you as well. Someone, Wednesday Store asked, are you going to check out Dave Grohl's new book?
The Storyteller. Dave Grohl did write a new book. I think it would be giving him too much credit to say that he wrote the book. Somebody with the amount of money Dave has and the amount of friends and influence he has, I'm sure there's a co-author or like what they call a ghost writer, you know, somebody who helps write the book and then they don't mind that you put it in their name, but they get a percentage of the sales. Courtney Love is known to use a ghost writer when she has been commissioned by different magazines to write an article on something. She'll often use a ghostwriter. I think Dave relayed these stories, and they are his stories, but I don't think he actually wrote the whole book himself.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Narrated and orated.
It may have been with the help of his mom, because his mom's a 35-year retired English teacher.
Yeah.
I bet his mom helped him a lot with that book. I have
me.
yet to check it out. I know that he was very reluctant to write about Kurt Cobain. In an interview, he said I was just afraid to do it, but he doesn't say why. But it's pretty obvious to anyone he's afraid to write about Kurt Cobain because he's afraid Courtney Love will sue him.
Right.
You know, if he says the wrong thing, Courtney's always seeking attention, always looking for a way to ingratiate herself into someone else's career. So, you know, he thought maybe I should stay away from Cobain, and that way there will be no lawsuits popping up.
Right.
But I am eager to find out what he did write about Cobain.
Let's see.
Anybody like the Dr. Cyril Wecht interview or that video as a whole? I got a chance to talk to him a couple different times besides the time that he knew I was recording. And email and a couple phone conversations, and I was really surprised at how, excuse me, I mean, no offense at all. He's 90 years old. It really shocked me. This guy is sharp as a fucking tack, dude.
Oh, brilliant.
Intellectually, this guy just is so far above me that when I talked to him, I felt like I needed to pull out a dictionary just to have a conversation with him. Like, what I mean? That dude is sharp as a tack.
Book Readerson, thank you for the donation. You're awesome.
Book Readerson.
I love that name. I say that every time. I love it.
And we established in the last live chat that he is not from the United States. He is from Canada.
Canada, yes. Let's see. Tyler Wright says...
Canada has always been friends. We have the longest unguarded border in the world.
Yeah, with Canada.
Yeah.
Let's see. Tyler Wright said, I love the video. I can't believe he answered most of the questions.
I couldn't believe that he said, if you go back and watch him, whether it be in Soaked in Bleach or news channels, he's, ABC News, CBS News, whatever it is, whenever any journalist, and I'm talking like well-known, respected, reputable journalists, have asked him, do you think Courtney Love had something to do with this? He has always, always, always said, I'm not a homicide detective. That's not for me to say. And when he said, I think it's a possibility, I about shit myself.
Right.
I was like, holy fuck, he answered the question.
Right.
Like, of course there was, but I don't have this and I don't have that, and proper investigation was not conducted. So, but just for him to say, I think it's a possibility, and then to later say she should have been a person of interest was like a huge leap.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think he's to the age where he just don't give a fuck anymore. And he's like, look, people, open your eyes,
Julie says Cyril doesn't look or sound 90. No, he does not.
He doesn't, man, and he doesn't act any different off camera than on camera. Like, what you see is what you get. That's really that guy's attitude.
He's a straight shooter.
Yeah, he's very straight shooter. He doesn't sugarcoat anything, and he's very punctual and very you would expect as much from a professional. But he's very a man of his word. If he tells you he's going to do something, he's going to do it. And he's going to do it at the exact time he tells you he was going to do it.
He's not a flake.
Right. He's not flaky at all. Like, every time he told me to email him or call him or whatever, and then he would reply right back. Like, there was no flakiness with this dude.
All right. Yeah, Roberta Carver says, if that didn't speak volumes, I don't know what does.
Yeah, for sure.
The Hungover Moth, we just got started, so you haven't missed much.
No. I do want to. I only have a few of the T-shirts left, and you can buy them on Teespring. I'm really shocked at how many people are willing to wear these T-shirts. I was unsure if anybody would buy them or wear them, and a lot of people have been more than willing. You can get them on Teespring, but I have a few left that I want to sell cheaper. If you have ordered a T-shirt from me, it's in the mail right now. There are no orders.
No pending orders.
There are no pending orders. So if you have not received your shirt, you'll get it within the next day or two. And I only have a handful left. So I do want to sell those. 23 USD to PayPal within the lower 48. That includes shipping and handling. And we'll send one out to you. Here in a minute, I'll go and get the shirt so I can show it to everybody again and tell you what sizes are left. Pretty sure we've sold out of small and we've sold out of 2XL. The last 2XL just went out.
Yes. So we have
medium, large, and XL.
That's correct. And we have red, blue, and gray. Those are the 3 colors we've got left.
I'm about to go blonde. Now, it's funny. No one's ever asked me my natural hair color. Well, no one gives a shit, right? But
we can all see your roots.
Well, my natural hair color was very light blonde, almost like white. And then around 7th, 8th grade, it started turning brown. And most of my life, I've been a sandy blonde-haired person. You know, and as I've gotten older, my hair just gets darker and darker. I think it's from dyeing it so much, or I don't know.
I don't know.
But I'm about ready to go back to blonde because we're going to dress up for Halloween. Yep. Halloween is a huge fucking deal in my town.
Yes.
The biggest Halloween block party on the eastern United side of the...
East of the Mississippi.
The biggest Halloween block party east of the Mississippi happens in my town. We're talking like 40, 50,000 people... bands, half-naked girls, and I Dream of Jeannie costumes and shit. Lots of booze in the streets. Unfortunately, this year I think they canceled it, right?
They did.
Ohio
For
University.
the 2nd year in the row.
Yeah, Ohio University canceled it. But we have kids, so we have a good excuse to dress up for Halloween. And we're going to dress up as Kurt and Courtney. We don't look anything like Kurt or Courtney, but you can still dress up like them, right? And we're gonna go fucking trick or treating with our kids as Kurt Cobain and Courtney Love. Basically, all Brittany has to do is smear mascara all over her face and have a cigarette out of her mouth and maybe some fishnets with some.
Got my Doc Martens and
Martens.
A weird nightgown / dress thing.
Yes.
Yeah. Well. I hope it's warm. That's all I gotta say. Yeah. I know. Thank you. They said, poor Brittany. I'm taking one for the team. That's for sure.
Kurt always wore thermals underneath his shit. Anyway, like holy jeans with thermals underneath. So I'll be fine. You could always wear thermals underneath. I mean, it might look a little weird, but
it would fly here. Everybody's saying
it doesn't get too cold in October in Ohio.
It's hit or miss. It could be 80 degrees or it could be snowing.
That's true. Some years you're wearing shorts in November. Some years you're wearing an Eskimo suit. Like it's very weird weather.
KF said Charles could go as Courtney.
I would go as Courtney.
I know you would.
I would, if I had, well, I don't have a blonde wig. We could find one, though. Halloween is such a big deal in this town that a Halloween store pops up every year, and they make so much money from selling costumes and makeup and wigs that they can shut down for the rest of the year and still survive. Like, they make $150,000.
Random spirit Halloweens in the old Kmart's in your town.
Well, it's all thanks to the students. They have 40,000 students buying costumes. So,
D. Creon said you need to have someone dressed up as Madonna so I can throw stuff at them.
Yeah, somebody just sent me a Madonna interview with Oprah Winfrey from like 98 or something. I'm sorry, your name escapes me. I can't remember. I think it was Rebecca Fennell. Somebody sent me this and I watched it. Madonna talks about having a dream in which she was at Sharon Stone's house. So she's at Sharon Stone's house, knock on the door. They open the door. It's Courtney Love with a gun.
Oh my gosh.
I'll have to include that in a video really soon.
They said don't do her poodle perm from Celebrity Skin video. No poodle perms for me. Oh my goodness.
I'm going to go for the 92 Cobain look because that's when he had short hair, blonde with roots, and he had not these glasses, but very, very similar, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, very similar, but they were more like rounded, I think.
Yeah.
And they were blue, I believe, not white.
No, they were white.
I can't remember. Well, anyway, I'm pretty sure everybody will know who we are. I mean, like that combination of holy jeans, Chuck Taylors, you know, I'm going to draw the flipper shirt. You guys have seen the pictures with Kurt with the flipper shirt. He actually drew that. That's not a real, well, it is a real flipper design, but he drew it himself. So, you know, older people should know, like, oh, I see what they're going for.
Yeah, our kids' friends' parents should get it.
Our kids' friends won't know. But...
No. Somebody asked the best way to order a T-shirt, and I lost the name.
Somebody fucking told me that Frances Bean Cobain shut her Instagram down. Is this true? Any of you guys follow Frances Bean on Instagram? I used a lot of her old Instagram posts to make the Growing Up Frances videos. Somehow there's 5 videos in that playlist. The first one got like over 100,000 views, and then it drops off. Like the next one's like 50,000, and the next one's like 30,000, and it just and that always makes me feel like I'm not doing a very good job, you know, when less and less people watch. But
hi Heidi, long time no see.
I was just thinking about Heidi. Is that Heidi Peichman?
Yep.
I was just thinking about her earlier today and how she has not been involved in a live chat or anything in a while.
I think she works a lot. Melissa M says she thinks she shut down her Twitter too. And then other people are saying she just hasn't posted anything lately. But her account is still there. She's just not using it, not posting to it.
Mm-hmm. I see. I don't know. So Instagram, Snapchat, those things piss me off. Keeping in mind that we have a preteen daughter and all these other fucking girls on there are like doing the nastiest shit, you know? Like just completely... I don't know. It just seems like whenever there's a feminist movement, it's always followed by a slut movement, you know?
Which being slutty is fine, but encouraging
it's 12 I don't give a shit about
to be slutty is not okay.
Right, that's my point. You don't know how young these girls are. These girls, you know, like I saw like one of the challenges is like put your hands in the air and bounce up and down, take your bra off. Like all this crazy shit that like millions of kids are doing. These are 15, 16, 17-year-old girls and fucking dudes my age are egging them on. Blech. It's like, what the fuck is wrong with you guys, man? And seeing how I have a preteen daughter, I'm hoping that this shit within the next couple years, those trends fade away.
I hope so as well. Thankfully, she's not into that social media stuff yet.
I don't think it's has anything to do with them being slutty. It's all to do with their self-esteem. And they're now convinced that the more likes I have, the more people who watch this video, the more my ego is fed. You know what I mean? Like the better I can feel about myself. And that's just going in the opposite direction of where we were going. They shouldn't be judging their self-worth off old fucking creepy dudes' likes. You know what I mean?
Someone asked, since I'm going as Courtney, am I going to drug you with Rohypnol?
I hope so.
No. At least not that you know of.
All I'm saying is fucking these big tech companies are getting rich off these little fucking kids. Exploiting children. It's basically like a softcore porn sex trafficking ring, and nobody's doing anything about it. Our government sure as hell isn't doing anything about it. They want them taxes to roll in. They don't give a shit. Mm-hmm. If I had a teenage daughter right now, I'd be like, give me your fucking phone. I'm looking through this whole goddamn thing.
Oh. Somebody was asking you, I lost it, it's way up, about best way to order a T-shirt.
send 23 USD to my PayPal.
Which there's a link on the YouTube homepage up on the banner. If you click, it'll take you directly to the PayPal. There should be a little symbol.
My Epic Tales, all one word, at gmail.com. myepictales@gmail.com. Send $23. That includes shipping and handling. Leave your shipping address and the size t-shirt that you want, and I will mail it to you. Somebody just commented earlier today and said they just got their shirt.
Yeah, they're here in the live chat. Tyson, I think.
I think he ordered 2 of them.
Yeah, but he did say he got them. I just saw it a couple minutes ago.
I rock that shit everywhere, man. I don't care. Sometimes people comment on it and sometimes they don't. Just depends on who you run into.
Depends on if they're in the know.
For me personally, after talking to Dr. Wecht, I just come to realize no one can call you anything for believing that Kurt Cobain's death was not a suicide, because the world's leading expert believes this. So if he was fooled, then who am I to not be fooled? You know what I mean? That's what I'm going to do. From now on, whenever somebody's like, well, what if you're wrong? I'm just going to say, I'm just going to link the Dr. Wecht interview. Like, listen to this guy and then tell me I'm an idiot, you know?
Right. Like, do you think he's wrong too?
41,000 autopsies and have never come across this situation before.
It's crazy.
A little bit.
Nikki Buff asks, is this channel your job?
I don't know. If you're asking if I do anything else for money, the answer is yes. I do other shit for money, but I don't look at it as a job. I'm not like, when I think of a job, I think like something that you don't want to do.
Right, like clock in, yeah. Clock out.
Yeah. And I enjoy. Now, I don't make a lot of money, I can tell you that. I it's funny, it's actually frustrating because I see other channels that are smaller than mine that actually get less traffic than mine, and they'll talk about how much money they make, and I'm like, damn you. You know, because the topics of the videos are so sensitive, a lot of times they're demonetized.
Right. Or
if they are monetized, there's copyrighted music, or there's a copyrighted clip within the video that then makes the ad revenue go to that copyright holder, and I don't get the money. So it certainly helps, and patrons help most of all.
Yes, absolutely. You guys are awesome.
The patrons are really what keeps it going. They support the channel.
Oh, Mr. Duke says hello from Jackson, Ohio.
Mr. Duke from Jackson, Ohio. I know who that is.
Yes, Shane, it is a conspiracy to say it was a suicide because there's no proof. That's just insane.
Fucking makes me so mad when people are like, but they proved it was a suicide. There's so much evidence that it's like, no, there's none, because they didn't conduct
an investigation.
Right. So, like I said, there's a documentary on YouTube right now. Very, very well made documentary, animated. I'm positive that money was thrown into this. It's presented as a homemade project, but it's obvious that professionals were at work with this thing, right? Because those cameras, those animation programs, they cost thousands of dollars. It wouldn't shock me if Courtney Love is commissioning people to make these YouTube documentaries to spin her narrative. Within this fucking very highly professional, well-made documentary, the narrator quite literally says, not only did Kurt Cobain attempt suicide many times, yeah, he says Kurt Cobain attempted suicide several times, and he purposefully OD'd several times, and there was something else. But I'm like, no, not at all. This was never publicized. This was never reported on. This is shit that you're making up.
Right.
I've been researching this for 2.5 years now, and I've never come across any publication that ever said he was suicidal until after his body was found.
Right, exactly.
Courtney fucking Love herself never said to a magazine that he was suicidal until after his body was found. And this documentary's passing this information. 500,000 people watched it, and they're saying to 500,000 people that everybody knew he was going to commit suicide. It was highly publicized.
Right.
He told everybody he was suicidal. And it's just blatant lies.
Right.
It's just, and
really
I don't know
is.
whether they're saying that out of ignorance or whether they're saying that because they have been paid
An ulterior motive,
to
right.
spin that narrative.
Yeah.
Judging by the quality of that documentary, I would say that they were paid to spin that narrative.
Probably.
They want the younger people to believe that shit. They don't want people to continuously look into this because someday something might happen where they actually do a real investigation. So it's just easier to spin a different narrative and push people away from it. Doom.
Oh, Shane, I did see that. He said, did you see the group of missionaries from Ohio who were kidnapped in Haiti? I just read about that when we were in the car.
What in the fuck were they doing in Haiti?
Missionary work, dear.
I
know.
You don't go to a third world country with that kind of controversy,
where their president was
political
just
corruption,
assassinated.
political corruption, and be like, well, God will protect us. No. God gave man free will. Do you understand what that means? That means God will not interfere with your life one way or another.
Right.
He's not going to save you. He is not going to fucking help you. Neither is he going to push you away or hurt you. God gave man free will to do as they fucking please. So if you go to Haiti, you might get kidnapped.
Right. Not on the top places.
If you're a white American, they're looking for money, man.
Right.
You know, I guarantee is there a ransom video yet?
Not that I've seen yet. I just saw a quick headline scroll across my screen about it.
That'd be like me going fishing off the coast of Africa and then complaining that pirates picked me up. You know, like
I know. Oh, yeah, Shane. America is politically corrupt too. That's the truth.
Well, yeah, everywhere is, but we also have a lot of, you know, our import export game is top notch, and so we don't need to kidnap people and ransom them for money. If the CIA wants somebody, they would secretly take them and dispose of them.
Everybody keeps asking, what documentary are you talking about?
Well, the reason I haven't, there are two reasons that I haven't, three reasons why I haven't mentioned the name of this documentary. One is I don't want to trash another YouTube channel because that's lame and shallow, and that gets you nowhere. I learned that lesson. Two is I don't remember the fucking title. And three, I'm not sure there was a number 3. But I could try to look it up right quick.
Oh,
3 was because I don't want people to watch it. Because I guess at this point it don't matter. Like 500,000 people have already watched it. But it's just fucking terrible, man. I even commented and said, you know, where are your sources? Why don't you link your sources to show people that what you're saying is real?
factual.
And, you know, whether they read my comment and ignored it or they've just never read the comment, I don't know. Hold on, I'll find it. Go ahead and read people's stuff.
Let's see.
I can't see without my eyeballs.
Put your eyeballs on. Zoe R., do you think Kurt suspected that Francis may not be his? What do you think about that?
That's a good question. He was certainly excited about it.
He always, I mean, in all the photos and video footage of them together, he always seemed extremely happy.
Well,
like
they could have very easily conducted a DNA test with no one knowing. But I'm glad you brought this up. I'll look for this documentary title here in a second. What I'm about to say is a bit controversial, but okay. So you guys know all about the Vanity Fair article "Strange Love," in which Lynn Hirschberg. We've talked about this several times on the channel. Lynn Hirschberg says Courtney Love told her she's doing drugs while she's pregnant. The LA County Children's Services come and take the baby away. And I realized that sounds like bullshit. That is the narrative that has been spun even to this day. But I'm a parent. And I know that at the hospital, what do they do to every mom with the placenta?
They can drug test it.
They test it. They drug test the placenta, and that'll tell you every drug that the mother has done since conception, right? And I don't know about other states, but in Ohio, if there's any drugs in that placenta, Children's Services takes the baby.
Yep.
At least temporarily. So, was it the Lynn Hirschberg article that caused Kurt and Courtney to lose the baby, or was the placenta tested and that was what caused them to lose the baby? But Courtney thought, well, that's worse than it happening because of a magazine article. So I'm just going to blame it on the magazine article.
Take no responsibility.
Take no responsibility and not mention the fact that the placenta was tested.
Right.
That seems more likely to me that the hospital said, bitch, you got a lot of drugs in your system. We got to do something, And I've read more about that in Danny Goldberg's book, Serving the Servant. The same doctor who took care of Rosemary Carroll throughout her pregnancy also took care of Courtney Love. And he talks about how Francis would be weaned through the use of buprenorphine, which is Suboxone. I don't know if any of you know what that is. They would wean Francis with Suboxone once she was born. That's talked about in Danny Goldberg's book.
That's sad.
Yeah, it's very sad when someone's born with an addiction they had no choice over,
Augusta May asked, Francis had surgeries done, but do you need a DNA test to get royalties? I believe in most states, as long as the mom and dad are married, they don't do a DNA test regardless of what the situation of the baby is.
As long as the daddy signed the birth certificate and claims the kid.
Yep.
That's it. Read.
Hang on, they're scrolling by really fast. KF said Courtney thought Francis looked too much like Courtney Love's dad and made her have plastic surgery as a teenager.
Man, where is this fucking... Of course I'll find it afterward.
Yeah, before plastic surgery, she did look a lot like Courtney, and Courtney definitely instructed the plastic surgeon to make Francis look like Kurt.
Hey, there's me with Dr. Cyril Wecht.
No, you're a nut.
Kurt Cobain's toy monkey. Oh, maybe this is it. No? This documentary has like 500,000 views. I can't believe it's not popping up. I'll have to find it and put it in the community post if you guys haven't come across this yet. But yeah, the narration just really pissed me off.
Well, I'm glad I
'Cause
haven't
I
watched
feel
it.
like I feel like they're just spreading so much misinformation, and it's done so well that people would believe it. It's
Yep.
like a professional fucking
Right, and
film.
then people take it as fact.
Hello, Cindy Marksberry.
Is she here?
Yes, but driving.
Oh, okay. She's probably listening to us and doing speech to text.
You're not a very good narrator.
I
You
know,
need to get going.
No, it is not the documentary Soaked in Bleach. That's not what he's talking about.
No, this is new. It's presented as a homemade film. Like one dude did it. But I guarantee it wasn't one dude. It was a team of people.
KF, no, I have not seen Courtney's latest short haircut, but I'm sure it looks absurd.
It's so weird because it popped up as a suggested video. Oh, tell them about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Oh yeah, this is the month for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction ceremony. It's on the 30th of this month, and we are going up to Cleveland to watch the Foo Fighters get inducted.
Here it is.
Oh.
The real story of Kurt Cobain's death. Wait, no, somebody stole a clip from it.
Oh, yeah, that's just like a 1-minute clip.
Like, it's a channel called How It Was.
That's who shared the clip.
I'm not trashing this channel. Don't take it that way. They have 132,000 subscribers.
Is that who originally posted the video?
Look, he said he bought a first class ticket to Seattle, and undoubtedly he already had his suicide planned out. Like, how in the fuck would you know that, dude? You can't say shit like that. You don't know that.
Yeah, that's disturbing.
It was just posted recently, so if I look at their videos,
I think they just shared a clip of it, not the whole.
They have like they're basically making ad revenue off of it, so they'll be like the whole film, and then they'll take several clips with different clickbaity titles, and that way you can maximize your profit off of one video. It's something like the real story of Kurt Cobain's death. 457,000 views. I guess it's from like 6 months ago. And this dude says shit that no one would know. No one could know, and makes up things, says that things were reported that were never reported.
Right. Like, where are the reports? Where's the documentation?
Even like off the phone, when I talked to Dr. Wecht, fucking outstanding character, man. This dude, if you've ever wanted to look up to somebody, Dr. Wecht is the kind of guy you should look up to. Like, he has a tremendous amount of dignity. You know what I mean? I spoke to him before recording, and one of the things he mentioned was how the media puts up smoke screens and leads people to believe things that aren't true. You know, he talked about how the Kurt Cobain case was one of those cases where journalists and filmmakers and YouTubers and everyone is so eager to try to make a dime off of it that they don't even fucking bother researching.
No.
They just know,
No.
if I make a video, I can say whatever the fuck I want to say. And because Kurt Cobain's face is on the thumbnail, people are going to watch it and I'm going to make money. You know, and they don't bother actually doing their homework. They just say, fuck it. People will believe it. Other people have said it. You know what I mean? Now, a lot of the shit in this video is true, you know? So there was obviously a certain amount of research that went into it, but with other topics like his death, and they're telling you in the title that they fucking know. It says his real death, what really happened. The true story about Kurt Cobain's death.
Like, were you there?
No.
Insanity.
They don't cite anything. They don't link any information. They don't say where they got their information from. They don't even mention any of the key players within the Cobain case, like Tom Grant and Dr. Cyril Wecht. They don't even mention any of these people.
No. Everyone said, found it, instant dislike.
It's just horrible, you know. That's what I meant when I put in the community post that it's hard to combat lies when such a highly professional, well-made film, you know, because it's entertaining. I myself would want to watch it, you know.
Right.
It's animated and it's got good sound quality and good clips and pictures, and it's very well made. So it's very easy for them to pass off shitty information under the guise of entertainment.
Right, make it all sparkly and nice and
exactly. And I'm thinking to myself, who in the fuck would take their time to edit this? That's hours and hours and hours of editing. It's a lot of work. Nobody would take their time to put that much fucking work into something like that unless they were getting paid.
Absolutely.
Period.
That's not a hobby.
It's not a hobby. That shit was done by professionals who know what the fuck they're doing.
Your truly Zed said that this is the first time they've made a live chat. Welcome.
Oh. Well, fucking great, man.
Grunge God says, what's up with the Silva versus Love case? Any updates?
In November of this year, so here in a couple months, there's going to be...
November? That's next month.
Oh, yeah, we're in October already.
I was like,
Shit.
In a couple months, what are you talking about?
Next month, I can't remember the exact date, there's going to be a status hearing. And what a status hearing is none of the defendants or the plaintiff has to go, but the attorneys have to go. So it'll be Silva's attorney, who he did get a new attorney, and there was a Facebook group that posted his new attorney's name. I can't remember. Silva's attorney and all the defendants, including Courtney Love's attorneys, will go and they will meet the judge, and the judge will say, have you come to an agreement? And Courtney Love's involved, so there's not going to be an agreement.
No agreement.
And then they're going to say, okay, well, this was your last chance to come to an agreement. Now we go to trial. And then the trial will be set in 2022.
Yes.
I'm highly, and I could be wrong, but I'm highly suspecting that there will not be an agreement and it will go to trial. I believe there's already a trial date set for like January 10th, 2022,
right, but that'll
or some shit like that.
Continued and pushed out,
yeah,
I'm sure.
I mean, these things can drag out for years.
Mm-hmm.
The great thing about it is if our children are up there going nuts, if Silva's attorney establishes, if he wins and he establishes that, yes, you did cause harm to my client, then we're talking possible criminal charges.
Right.
Conspiracy to kidnapping, sexual battery, sexual assault, fucking
like intimidation of witnesses.
Intimidation of a witness, like a whole gambit of fucking criminal charges. I would love to see Courtney Love just railed in court, man. I would love...
For once in her life.
For once in her life, yes.
Something.
I couldn't have said it better myself. Just for once for her to be held accountable for her actions.
Because she's done a lot of shitty things to a lot of people.
She has violently attacked... Dude, violently attacked numerous people. I mean, she's hurt people and gets away with it. She's a fucking thug.
Yeah. She's a very nasty,
Courtney
nasty
Love
person.
is gangster as fuck. I will give her that.
Oh, in the most terrible way.
But for all the wrong reasons, for very selfish reasons. If she fought for injustice the way she fights for her piggy bank, my God, the world would be a peaceful place.
You're telling me. KF said Courtney used to say she owned the LA judicial system, maybe no more.
Yeah. Maybe all them old fuckers she used to give hand jobs to are all dead, and now we can finally get some fucking justice out of them pricks.
Tell me how you really feel. Yeah, she has a lot of people on her payroll for sure.
I mean, she was even texting that shit to Isaiah Silva, or Sam Lutfi was texting to Isaiah Silva. Courtney owns this town. Courtney owns the LAPD. Blah,
right,
blah, blah,
like,
blah,
you'll never
blah.
work again. We'll make sure of it. Is that what you really want? They were intimidating his friend that was there with him that called the cops.
Yeah, that guy drummed for... Well, that guy's career consisted of drumming for Hole and Smashing Pumpkins. So
right.
If Courtney chooses to destroy his career, she can because it's her and Billy Corgan.
Right.
You know? I was really surprised by the recent community poll. The Nirvana bleached drum cover. I put up Paper Cuts, School, Love Buzz, and Floyd the Barber for the next drum cover. And I was really surprised, but Floyd the Barber is in first place right now. I thought it would be Love Buzz or School.
They're all pretty close, though.
I was more leaning towards School. Great fucking song.
That is a great song. It's fun.
Now that I go back in retrospect and listen to all the various Nirvana albums, I find myself kind of like falling in love all over again with Incesticide. Man, that was such an underrated record.
Yeah.
So many fucking good songs on there. And I like the low production quality.
That's what gives it its charm.
There are songs where you can even, if you're drumming along to it, if you're an experienced drummer, where the time speeds up and slows down.
They're not staying on steady tempo.
No, it's a punk rock album, dude. They did not give a fuck when they were recording. They just did what they did.
And they're just like, well, that was our one take. That's it.
Yeah, something really highly polished like Nevermind. You're not going to find a song that speeds up and slows down.
No,
they're playing
mistakes.
They're playing by a metronome. Matter of fact, Butch Vig talks about how he made Dave Grohl play to a metronome, and Dave Grohl was really upset because
offended, right?
Yeah, offended. As a drummer, that's the worst thing you can do is ask them to play to a metronome.
Yep.
You guys know what a metronome
Reminds
is?
me of my marching band days. Except they had it on a huge PA blasting in our faces.
Yeah. Just the click, 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 click. It keeps you in time, right? So while he's playing his drum tracks, he's listening to beep, 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 beep. And that's like very offensive to ask a punk rock drummer to play to a metronome because they're like, I can keep time, you know?
Oh. Yes, Aneurysm. That's a great one.
Absolutely. Aneurysm. I've been playing that since I was in 8th grade on drums, man. That was one of the very first songs I ever learned how to drum to. I've watched some drum covers of Aneurysm on YouTube, and different drummers kind of the doon doon cat to the doon doon cat doon 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 cat. Different drummers play it differently. I've studied Dave Grohl live to see how it's really played.
Yeah.
And I want to eventually do a drum cover of Aneurysm. Let's read some people's comments.
Juzu says Incesticide is my default gym album.
Hell yeah.
Good workout music.
I remember that name. He or she has been around for a while.
Yes.
They've been around the channel for quite a while. I think I'm recalling that from the house we used to live in.
Yeah, I believe so. I think you're right.
A couple years ago.
Been almost 2 years.
Yeah, keep going.
Let's see. That's what gives great music life. It's because you feel it moving ahead and pulling back. That makes it real and not a loop.
Yeah.
Like a drum, like a electronic drum beat.
Yeah, and a good band once and this may be something that only people who've been in bands can really understand. There is this thing called chemistry. That's the word that we choose to use to describe it. I've been offered to play in many bands, but there was only ever one band that I really felt
gelled with.
Yes, exactly. Like, you could take a professional drummer and a professional guitarist and put them together. Yeah, they could play together, but they might not enjoy playing together.
We might not feel it.
Right,
There's like a feeling.
They're not connecting, and that's what we call chemistry. And I think when Dave Grohl joined Kristen Kurt, there was a chemistry there.
Right.
And anyway, what I was saying is, once you get used to your bandmates, you automatically stay in time with them. So if they slow down, you slow down. If they speed up, you speed up. And it's just...
You learn how to follow each other's leads and cues and just keep it going.
So one of the things about the best bands in the world is their ability to stay in time, what we call tight. That band was tight, right? They were in the pocket, all that shit, to not only stay in time, but not speed up, not slow down, just staying together,
yes.
You know? But when I did that Dive drum cover, I could feel the song slowing down and speeding up. And I thought, man, this is a real punk rock album.
KF said Courtney Love put out a photo of herself at Jeffrey Bezos' house.
Oh,
what the
God.
Fuck? God.
That fucking idiot will befriend anybody. If you're hot, if you're trendy, if people are talking about you, Courtney Love wants to be your friend.
Oh, yeah. Send that bitch on a ship to space.
Can I get a picture with you to put on my Instagram? Like, Instagram is for two things: to promote a business and to promote your body. That's it. So if you're not promoting a business, or like a band could be a business, or if you're not some slutty model, you should not be on Instagram. What the fuck is Courtney Love doing on Instagram?
Trying to stay relevant. She's like,
she uses other
60
people,
years old.
like other people who do have businesses, who
Right.
do have bands, who are models, who she'll befriend them just so she could name drop them. You know, Brittany and I read one article once, and we counted how many different names
my gosh.
Courtney dropped
in one single interview. I think she name dropped like 13, 14, 24. I'm sorry, 24 different
24 different celebrities.
pretty current, well-known celebrities. Like, oh, well, I was at so-and-so's house, and we did this, and then I ate at this restaurant with so-and-so. And it's just like...
The funny thing,
what?
Dude, I never mentioned this in the Growing Up Francis videos. I wish I would have. One of the celebrities she name-dropped in that interview was Adele. And then in the text messages that the court has now released, the Isaiah Silva case, there's actually text messages from Courtney to either Sam or Francis where she's talking shit about Adele.
Oh, my God.
And saying, I got to go meet that bitch, blah, blah, blah,
Who's
blah, blah.
actually an extremely talented,
right.
real musician.
But she didn't mind using her name to get herself
article.
in a magazine,
right,
you know?
Of course. Thank you, Augusta. I love trolling people on the internet.
I don't fucking like trolls.
I only troll people who deserve it, though. Who just have it coming.
Trolls are the reason that I couldn't tell anybody I was doing an interview with Dr. Cyril Wecht. These motherfuckers, they don't even know you. They will try to cut your ankles. Like, if you have a good idea for a business or a YouTube channel or whatever you do, don't share it with anybody.
Don't tell anybody until it's
Don't
already
tell anybody.
done.
There are people who exist who will make it their fucking job to cut your ankles, to make sure that you do not succeed, to make sure that you do not, I don't know whether it's envy or jealousy or they're just bored, or, you know, some people are just born pessimistic with a shitty outlook on life. But yeah, I can't even mention future videos anymore, because had I mentioned Cyril Wecht, like 50 people would have emailed that dude and been like, he's a piece of shit. Don't talk to him, blah, blah, blah. And then they'll come back to my channel and tell me how fucking great my videos are.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Same thing happened back in the day with Tom Grant. He told me about it. As soon as I said I was going to talk to Tom Grant, all these people who were claiming to be my friend on my fucking channel were emailing the guy telling him what a piece of shit I was.
Right.
And I don't even know these people. That's the crazy thing.
I know.
Never talked to them.
All they
no
know
clue who they are.
Is your videos. That's it. They don't.
So I'm like, aren't we supposed to be on the same team?
Right.
Like there are other channels and Facebook groups who believe Kurt Cobain was murdered, and they are working to expose this conspiracy and spread the truth, but they hate me.
Oh, right. I don't.
And I'm like, what the fuck? We're on the same team. Like, we have the same goals.
Right.
We should be working together, not against each other.
Exactly.
You know? It makes no sense to me. People in general make no sense to me.
I'll agree with that. Yeah, someone said keep your cards close to your chest, which is exactly what I told you.
I was naive, man. I was a very... This channel really taught me a lot. I was very trustworthy of people. You know, I would talk to anybody about anything, and I've learned that those same people who pretend to be your friend will turn around and fucking stab you in the back.
Right.
Just because they can. That, not even really having a reason to. Just because they can. So always, especially if you have a good idea, if you have a good idea, keep that shit to yourself until you implement it, until
the wheels are already moving and it's already a done deal.
Yeah.
Never share what you're trying to do, because somebody will always try to fuck you.
Yeah.
And it's sad, like, that people can't get excited and
never in my life have I tried to cut another man's ankles.
No.
Like never have I looked at somebody else and been like, man, I'm going to go behind his back and make sure that doesn't happen. Like, I've never been like that. Read.
I am reading. I'm trying to scroll up. Yes, Tyson says not many people are
Tyson Fury?
Yes, Tyson Fury. Not many people are loyal anymore, and it's sad. That is true.
Especially online.
Because there's no accountability.
There's no accountability. I had somebody offer to help me with research on the channel or editing or whatever I needed them to do. And then I saw an amateur blog where they left comments about what a shitty person I was.
Yes! Like, okay.
And I fucking took a picture of it and emailed it to him and said, is this you? Like, why are you offering to be my friend and help me, and then going over to fucking Reddit and talking shit about me?
Right. Like,
and the crazy thing was, I was going to befriend them. I was going to be like, yeah, you want to help. Until I saw that.
Right. And I'm sure they never responded.
It doesn't make any sense to me. Like, what? It almost feels like, I've met some really good people. I'm not going to say that, like, obviously I have some really good subscribers. I have good patrons. I can't complain. I'm not saying it's all bad.
Most people are genuinely good and supportive people. Absolutely.
Yeah. I just don't understand the ones who like to play games.
Right. Like, what are you getting out of it? Like, what is the benefit?
What are you getting out of it? Why are you doing this? And then I realized these people have mental health issues. They're two-sided. They're two-faced.
Right.
Like you and I dealt with that my whole life. My mom was like that. My sister was like that. I've had people in my family who all they do is gossip about each other. You guys ever when you were a kid, this is how it would go. My mom had like 4 sisters. She'd be on the phone to one sister talking shit about the other sisters, hang up the phone, the other sisters would call, then she would talk shit about. And so I learned at a very young age not to trust my own family. But then later in life, I learned you really can't trust anybody.
No.
Until they've proven themselves.
Right.
And the reason I'm saying this is I don't want anybody else to make the same mistakes I made. Like if you have a good business idea or YouTube idea or whatever, don't think that your friend online is going to keep it a secret
or be on your side
or not work to try to make that not happen for you.
Exactly. Screw it up just for the sake of screwing it up.
Mm-hmm.
Melissa M said it's like Courtney fans becoming patrons just to patronize you.
Yeah.
Oh. Everybody likes my Star Wars shirt. Makes me happy.
It's a good fucking shirt, bub.
I know.
I'm pretty sure I picked that out.
I think you did.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody asked what I played in marching band. I was on drumline, but I do not play.
Band geek.
Hey, you know what? I'll fight you.
Band nerd.
I loved marching band. It was fun.
No, band is very valuable as far as I always wanted to be in band when I was a kid, but that didn't happen for me. It was too expensive, so I ended up playing sports,
which we have come to discover is also just as ridiculously expensive. Or some places.
Well,
for
these
every
days
season.
Sports are expensive because you have to provide everything. But when I was a kid, the schools had their own equipment, and the kids just used the equipment that the school had. Now, if your kid plays football, you got to buy him pads, you got to buy him a helmet, you got to buy him mouth guards, you got cleat, all that shit. And then you got to drive him to the games. The school doesn't even provide transportation.
Not in our son's age group. Now, once he gets in 7th, 8th grade above, they do take a bus to the away games, but he's only in 4th grade, so we have to drive him to all the games.
Man, I have to admit, I need to make... There's a video that I think I'm going to unlist it or make it private. Friends who envied Kurt Cobain's success, and where I show Buzz Osborne doing a lot of shit talking about Kurt Cobain. But I've learned so much more about the Melvins and how important Buzz Osborne's role was. Not just with Nirvana, with Soundgarden, with all the Seattle bands.
That entire era.
Buzz was like the center of the universe, and everybody was revolving around him. There's a new podcast with Matt Cameron. He played in fucking Pearl Jam, right? Did Matt Cameron also play in Soundgarden? Somebody answer that for me. Anyway, where he talks about how if you needed a new bandmate or something was lacking in your band, you could go to Buzz Osborne and he would have the perfect guy for you.
Right.
So I understand why Buzz was jealous and envious, because back in the day, he was like Papaw, Everybody went to fucking Papaw for advice, and then when Papaw got too old and wasn't useful anymore, they just bypassed his ass. All these guys that looked up to Buzz Osborne became more famous than Buzz Osborne. So I understand his position.
Yeah.
I would be a bit envious too. Because it's like
he made it happen, but he never
made it happen for a lot of them.
Yeah.
And I want to make a part 2 of that to explain Buzz's side more clearly. And by the way, Melvin's put out a new jam. They have like Jam in the Melvan videos out. Really, really good music. I never liked them in the past, but I'm starting to really get into the Melvins.
Yeah. They grew on you.
They did grow on me, especially Dale fucking Crover's drumming.
Oh, we were watching that last night a little
Dale
bit.
Crover is a phenomenal drummer.
Yes, he was in both bands. Somebody asked what sports you played. I lost the comment.
When I was a little kid, I played baseball, and I was pretty good at it. I played catcher and third base. And then when I got into junior high, middle school, I shot up. Like, I was sort of a short, husky kid, maybe even chubby. So I was like a good catcher, because if I can't catch the ball, it'll just hit me in the gut. And so when I shot up and I got tall and lanky, I started playing basketball. And I played basketball all throughout school. I ran track a couple of years just to stay in shape for basketball. And I think I played a year of soccer. I wanted to play football, but my mother would not let me. And yeah, that's about it. I went to a real redneck school. We didn't have things like swimming and tennis and
golf.
Yeah, we didn't have things like that, you know.
Someone asked.
I was friends with a few guys who were in marching band, though. Even as a jock.
Ew.
My jock friends didn't like me because I listened to punk rock and skateboarded, and the punk rockers didn't like me because I played basketball. So I was just kind of a loner.
Stuck in the middle. Someone asked, are you going to go to a Red Hot Chili Peppers concert? No, I don't believe so.
No, we're going to the Foo Fighters Rock and Roll
Yeah.
Hall of Fame induction, which Randy Rhoads is getting inducted. R.I.P. Randy Rhoads. And I'm taking a very good camera with me, like a nice Canon camera. So I'm going to be able to get some really good photos and video, which I will use for the next Foo Fighters video, as well as a new Nirvana video, because Pat Smear will be there.
Yeah.
I'm positive Chris Novoselic will be there,
Absolutely.
and I'll be able to get some good footage and
Yeah.
pictures of those. I plan on developing some of the pictures and sending them to patrons of the channel, just as a little thank you, you know.
Get some pictures of Tina Turner.
Oh, that lady's wild.
Yeah, she is. She's a trip. That'll be fun to see too, I think.
I wonder if she still has that crazy hair.
She's got to. I'm sure she'll have a wild wig. She
I hope
did.
it's gray. Like Buzz Osborne, he just rocks the gray hair.
Right. Which I thought that the induction ceremony was always played live on HBO, but I guess it's not. From what I read, they just kind of stitched some clips together of the little speeches and a couple performances and then put it out later on HBO.
I guess I failed to mention at the beginning of the live chat that the reason why Brittany and I are going to dress up for Halloween as Kurt Cobain and Courtney Love is because we're going to the Foo Fighters induction
Right.
ceremony on the 30th.
Right.
So we were going to go there dressed as Kurt Cobain and Courtney Love. So if you see any weird clips pop up of these two weirdos,
That's us.
that's us. I told Scott on tape to get a ticket and meet me there, but he never responded.
I'm surprised he wouldn't. Mitchell Valentina said, I saw Tina Turner in Switzerland a few years ago. She still looked amazing. I don't doubt it.
That's cool.
That's it says someone said Buzz Osborne is a massive Tina Turner fan. The more you know.
I know he's really into The Who.
Yeah.
I was really, really upset with, I guess there's a bit of envy and jealousy in me too when I see other YouTube channels, much younger people who get interviews with people like Buzz Osborne and they don't know the first fucking thing about the music.
Right. Like
I recently
so unprepared.
saw this girl interviewing Buzz Osborne, and it was very obvious right from the start that she knew nothing about the music world he come from. And she said, so what was the 60s like? And Buzz was just like, I don't know. I was a little fucking kid. Like,
Oh my god, that's so insulting.
right. He wasn't even like old enough to know what the 60s were like.
I was 3. Don't know.
Right, and she's like, oh. And it's obvious that she doesn't even know
Why
where.
would they put her in?
He ended up basically taking over the interview and turning it around. But yeah, it's like, why are you giving an interview to someone who obviously does not give a fuck about you or even know who the fuck you are? You know?
Right. Oh my goodness.
I think
Apparently other people have seen that interview. They said it was painful to watch.
Yeah, you guys have seen it? Yeah, Buzz is just like, what? Like, I think Buzz realized right away, this girl doesn't know shit. I'm gonna have to just talk, you know?
Right. Let's see. Adam VVS asks, are there questions you wished you would have asked Cyril Wecht that you did not?
Yeah, one of them. Well, the most important thing to know is he only gave me 15 minutes. Originally, well, I'm not going to get into all that. But originally I thought I was going to have more time and it was going to be more just like a conversation. But like I said, this is a busy dude. He's a college professor. He still does autopsies. He gives speeches. And more importantly, he gets paid a lot of money to do that shit. So
to do lectures,
giving
and things of that nature, yeah.
someone like me, us really, our channel, and by us I mean the viewer and me, giving us his time was pretty cool of him because he, you know, in 15 minutes, Dr. Wecht probably makes like $200, you know?
Right.
So I was limited. And there were a lot of questions I wanted to ask, but there was no time to ask them. Now, also, if you didn't notice, by the end of that interview, I said, do we have time for a couple more questions? And he says, yeah, go ahead. I was an inexperienced interviewer. What that should have told me was he was getting into the conversation and I could have just kept going. But, you know, I'm looking at my watch thinking I only have 2 more minutes left.
Right.
So I cut it off when, as an experienced interviewer, I would have just kept going until he cut me off.
Right.
You know, I wanted to ask him about the lack of blood at the scene. Why, if your heart is beating and you get shot, you're going to bleed.
Yeah, because you have blood pressure.
Now, here's what's interesting. And this is something, you know, unless you studied medicine, you probably wouldn't know this. I'd never really put a lot of thought into it. Once your heart stops beating and then you get shot, there's going to be very little blood because that blood pressure is not pushing it out of the wound.
Right.
Right? And this is something that a couple people pointed out in the comment section of that video. You know, how does a man die twice? Well, from what I've read, and the half of Kurt Cobain's autopsy has never been released to the public. The toxicology has been released.
Yes.
The actual observation of the scene and the body has never been released. Okay? So we don't know how much blood was there, really, because they don't release photographs of his head and that area.
Right.
But what I've read is there was a very small pool of blood off the left ear, you know, off the side of the left ear on the floor. So he did bleed some, but not a lot. And what I'm thinking is, after talking to Dr. Cyril Wecht and him explaining to me, both off the record and on the record, that listen, this was a massive amount of heroin. I don't care how large of a tolerance you have, this would have killed anybody. You would think that the heroin is killing him and his heart is plummeting. His blood pressure is plummeting.
His respiratory rate is dropping.
And therefore, he would have been unconscious. So I think at the time Kurt was shot, his blood pressure was already failing.
Yes.
And it was bottoming out, and that's why there was such a small amount of blood.
Right.
Now, how could he possibly shoot himself if his blood pressure has bottomed out?
Right. You can't load and pick up a shotgun and have the strength.
You wouldn't
to
even
pull the
be
trigger.
conscious.
No, exactly.
Another question that I'm happy I asked him was, I was actually sitting on my drum stool one day like I am right now, and my boy walked in and he handed me a Nerf gun, like this big ass fucking Nerf gun. He wanted me to play Nerf guns with him. And I was sitting there thinking, you know, this is a weird shit I think about. I didn't say it out loud in front of my boy, of course. But I was thinking it would be much easier to kill myself if I rested this gun on the floor and held it like this than to sit on the floor and like do some
You'd
weird
have to lean
fucking,
way back because his
you know,
torso was so short. He was not a
right.
very big
And this
guy.
is a very long 20 gauge shotgun. I know you guys have seen pictures of it. It's a very long gun. It would be way easier to sit on that stool that was in the room. Well, if you're unconscious, that's dead weight, and you can't
sit on a
you
stool.
can't maneuver somebody around. So you would lay them out on the floor. Maybe one guy would take a belt or something and lift his head up while the other guy puts the gun on his stomach and pulls the trigger with his hand, right? It makes more sense for Kurt to be laying on the floor than to have fallen off of a stool, because at the time he was shot, he was not conscious.
Right.
And I really wanted to hammer that home, because how many times I've watched dozens and dozens of cold case files and fake suicides and all this shit, and usually when it is a suicide, somebody will sit in a chair or on a couch or someplace comfortable. They're not gonna get down on the floor to shoot themselves.
Right. It's definitely odd.
Not to mention, like, what he was writing a letter where? On the floor? Did he use the stool as a desk? And then he gets up, walks over, plunges it in some dirt,
The flower pot,
in a planter. It's just like, and these are things that Wecht pointed out too. He's like, the whole scene just looks funny. It just looks staged. It just, it doesn't look well thought out. One more thing I wanted to ask him that I never got a chance to ask him was, I can't remember the exact amount, but I think it was either $130 or $160 something was laying on the floor. Cash money. If I were going to kill someone and I wanted it to look like a suicide, it would be smart to leave money laying on the floor, because the police would think, well, this wasn't a burglary, because they would have taken the money.
Right. Not a robbery gone wrong or a drug deal gone wrong or.
Right. If it was something like that, they would have taken the money. They would have taken the dope. There was still more dope in the stash box that was neatly fucking put away.
Right.
Weird. So we don't even know if the syringes in the stash box were the syringes used to inject the dope, because they were cleaned.
Right.
Like, who the fuck cleans their needle immediately after?
And they were never tested.
Right. They were never tested for DNA or fingerprints or anything. So what I'm getting at is, how many times have any of you walked anywhere in your house and just decided to throw your money on the floor?
Right. Like, what is that?
How many times in your life have you walked into your bedroom, your kitchen, your living room, wherever, and just said, nope, don't need it, and just threw all your money on the floor? Does that make any fucking sense? Sorry, to anybody? It makes no sense. It's almost like somebody threw it there so the police would think, well, that's a suicide. The murderer would have taken this dope and this money.
Right.
I think that shit was staged.
Absolutely it was.
It was put there to make it look like a suicide. Now, what do people say to that?
Let it bleed. Adam said, only if a stripper was in my house. And I'll agree with that.
Well, if a stripper is in your house, you would put it in her G-string.
Not on the floor.
Unless you wanted
Be
to see her
polite.
bend over and pick it up, I guess. but a polite gentleman would put that dollar bill in her G-string, like a real man. No, I'm just kidding, man. I understand what you're saying. Make it rain.
Oh.
that stripper shit goes both ways. When I was in college, these girls next to my friend's house were having a bachelorette party, and they all came over and got me and my friend Matt to come over and strip for them. It was really weird. I didn't take my underwear off because their moms were there.
Oh my God.
I was like 19 years old, and these old ladies were like, woo!
Oh man, you made their day.
I have to tell that story some other time. Yeah, I made like $7 off that.
Yes. Did they at least give you free natty ice?
They gave me a piece of cake and $7.
Worth it.
Matt, on the other hand, got butt-ass naked, and I'm pretty sure he ended up staying there longer than I did after I left. But anyway.
Oh, my.
What the fuck were we talking about? Oh, I wanted to ask you guys if you have any questions or suggestions, because in the future, I hope to talk to Dr. Wecht again. Now, I'm not saying anything's planned or anything like that, but it is my hope that I get to talk to him again. And
I did see someone mention asking about...
So if you have any questions that you'd like to see asked to him, go ahead and let us know.
About the cadaveric spasm.
Yeah.
Which I know...
I was really, really... mad at myself for not asking about the cadaveric spasm. I read, I even talked to a local coroner who said cadaveric spasm is actually very rare, and it typically only happens when a person has a stroke.
Yeah.
When you die of a stroke. So, but a stroke is brain damage. A shot to the brain would be brain damage. I bet a lot of those BBs from that bird shot got stuck in the roof of his mouth.
Yeah.
I bet they didn't even penetrate very deep.
In his sinus cavity.
Yeah. But, again, you would think if his blood pressure wasn't bottoming out, if his heart was beating regularly, a ton of blood would have came out of his mouth, his ear, his eye, know. So I wanted to ask about the cadaveric spasm because of what I read, that it's actually very rare. Now, somebody pointed out, and I haven't taken the time to really look, but somebody said it seemed like his left hand was gripped around the barrel like a cadaveric spasm, and the right hand was more relaxed. So I wanted to ask Dr. Cyril Wecht, is that common for one side of the body to spasm while the other doesn't? Because if not, and these are things that we're getting into in the next Nirvana series, I'm going to go over the processes of death. There is something called a secondary relaxation that happens after rigor mortis. And that's when the hands and all the muscles begin to relax. And that's when your body starts to putrefy and, break down.
Decompose.
Decomposition,
yes.
That's the beginning of the decomposition stage, is when the muscles start to relax. Typically, this happens about 36 hours after, anywhere from like 28 to 36 hours after death. Now, they said Kurt had been laying there for how long? Since the morning of April 5th is what they estimated. Well, you would think by April 8th, that hand would have started to relax.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He would have started to decompose by then. So why is he still in a cadaveric spasm that happens during rigor mortis? Did he not die till April 6th or April 7th?
Right.
These are all questions that should have been answered, like Dr. Wecht said. These are questions that should have been answered at the time, not later.
Right. It should have been part of the investigation before the evidence was all destroyed.
He fucking told me, he said, any homicide detective I've ever met in my life would have figured out who was at the home at the time of death and not let them go until they were interrogated.
Absolutely.
Now, Callie and Jessica had left California. They hadn't just left Seattle, Washington. They hadn't just left Seattle. They left the entire fucking state.
Yeah.
And Courtney Love would not tell anybody where they were. She said, I don't know. I think Dylan's in fucking Utah or Nevada or California. I'm not
money paid for the ticket.
She gave the dude $35,000 to leave, but didn't know where he was going.
Right. please.
Nobody knew where either one of these people were who were in the home. Come the fuck on, man.
Right.
You know, what Wecht told me was any homicide detective I know would have tracked these people down, told them to come back to Seattle, and interrogated them.
Yeah.
See what people are saying?
Oh. Deirdre.
You got any water?
No, but I can go get some because I need some too. Real quick though, Deirdre Nasty asked, "Do you think Dave Grohl and Chris really think it was a suicide?"
That's a really good question. I want to talk about so a patron of mine named Fred. If me talking into the mic is too loud, let me know. Fred Badwan mentioned something to me. Annie mentioned it during the last live chat that has to do with Chris Novoselic. I'll talk about that real quick when I get back. I need to go get some water real quick. I'll be right back. Just read everybody's questions, and that way you know where we're at when I get back.
Glenn Neal, that is correct. Cyril Wecht said that it's just not humanly possible to do that much heroin, put your kit and your needle and your drugs away, and then shoot yourself. It just can't happen. Yes, you, Fred. Madison Strip, I believe so. I'll have to ask Charles when he gets back. Do I think Rivers Cuomo is secretly Kurt? That's weird when you think about it. But no, I don't. But I do love Weezer. Iggy Pop is on YouTube saying Kurt was murdered for money. Is that... How recent was that?
There's some water for ye.
Thank you. Natasha M. says, Dave Grohl did a PBS interview this week and said, I know that fans have questions, and frankly, so do I.
Oh, wow.
Interesting, because usually he's all like, Kurt committed suicide, it was sad.
No, Dave's
Well,
never said Kurt committed suicide.
don't
He's always
speak out.
avoided it.
They don't speak out against it, though.
Chris, in so many words, Chris has said it. He said in an interview he shouldn't have done that. That was really stupid. If he wasn't on heroin, I don't think he would have done that. And he obviously was alluding to suicide.
Right.
So the car, Kurt's Dodge Dart, was parked at Chris Novoselic's house, and no one seemed to know how it got there, or at least the private eye, Tom Grant, said that he investigated as many people as he could talk to, which was very few because everybody got the hell out of Dodge. You know, Callie and Jessica Hopper were the people he should have been talking to, but Courtney Love would not tell him where they were. So he couldn't talk to them, even if they wanted to talk.
Right.
Anyway, Fred said something like, "Oh, well, you know, that was like a mafia thing. It was like a warning. You park the dead guy's car in front of the next person's house and say, you know, keep your mouth shut or you're next."
Yeah.
Now, I don't know whether that's true or not, but it is a very interesting thing to consider. Shit. Go ahead.
You
Go
lost
ahead.
it.
Yeah. I was just thinking, is it possible that Chris just over time came to the conclusion, this is how it's going to be, there's nothing I can do about it, so I might as well just follow suit?
Right.
You know, Dave has never, to my knowledge, Dave Grohl has never said Kurt Cobain committed suicide. He has never said anything even close to that. He just says, it's sad, my friend died, and I didn't know what to do, you know? Courtney even called him out for it once. I think it was on Howard Stern. She said, Dave could take up for me, but he never does. He's never,
Oh, boo him.
you know.
Someone was asking about where it was how people figured out Courtney Love paid the $35,000.
How it was figured out?
Yeah, like who?
That information comes from private investigator Tom Grant. Now, whether this is true or not, I don't know, because I don't know where he got his information from. But it is written about in Max Wallace and Ian Halperin's book, The Murder of Kurt Cobain, and it is within the case study of Tom Grant that Courtney said. I think Courtney may have even been the one to tell him, actually, now that I think about it. It's been a long time. She said she sent him to rehab and that it costs $35,000 or $30,000, somewhere around there. So Callie left supposedly to go to rehab, but she couldn't remember where the rehab was.
Even though she paid for it.
Right. Dylan Carlson has said that Courtney paid his rent for many months. Kurt Cobain was taking care of Dylan Carlson. Where are you off to?
I'll be right back.
Okay. Dylan Carlson was being taken care of by best friend Kurt Cobain. And then after Kurt Cobain's death, for many months, Courtney is providing the heroin and paying his rent. There were a lot of people around Kurt's circle that he took care of. As you guys know, Courtney even gave Wendy O'Connor what she called an allowance. I don't know how much that allowance was, but Wendy was getting so much money per month. Again, did anybody have questions for Dr. Cyril Wecht? Let me look through your comments real quick and come up with something. Callie needs to talk. Michael Valentino. Yes, you are correct. To my knowledge, that dude's never been questioned to this day, and it seems like like the elephant in the room. Like, really, no journalist has ever talked to Callie and said, "Hey, can we talk about your friend's death? Can we talk about the fact that you were in the house?" Now, I grew up in most of my life as a child was spent on 73 acres of land, okay, out in the country. A lot of hunting activity went on in the area. You can hear a shotgun blast from 2-3 miles away. I've always wondered how Callie and Jessica could have been in the house and not heard anything. A garage. Ask anybody who's ever shot a shotgun and they'll tell you how fucking loud it is. How could they not hear anything? And then I thought, well, maybe they were nodded out. Maybe they were on a heroin binge and they were just semi-unconscious. That could be a possibility, or they could have heard something but didn't want to talk about it. Tyson and Bella Reynolds, what happened to Callie, Dylan, and Jessica? As far as I know, Callie lives in Los Angeles, where Courtney lives. Dylan, not really sure about him. I know that he had a shitty noise band called Earth, and they've put out a couple records over the years. As far as Jessica Hopper, she is a music critic. She has written for the Chicago Tribune. I think she's even written for the New York Post. She's authored a couple different books. The only living female music critic alive. Blah 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 blah. These people have went on with their careers like nothing ever happened.
Yeah. Sorry, I had to tuck the boy in. He refuses to go to bed.
Yeah, he just asked me if we were going to be done soon.
Yeah. And the skunk is back.
Oh boy, we have a pair of skunks living outside of our house. Yeah, I think I smell it. Yeah, yep. I can smell it.
They keep spraying in our bushes outside of our house and driving our dog nuts.
Yeah. I got a cat. For the first time in my life, I got a kitty cat, man. I was never a cat person. I was always a dog person. And basically what happened is our children talked us into getting a cat. And
we were conned into it.
It's not that bad, really. I mean, it's different than owning a dog, but it's not a bad cat. It doesn't, annoy me or anything, so.
She's fun. She's cute.
They're pretty funny. They do some really weird shit.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Everybody was saying birdshot wouldn't leave an exit wound.
Oh, hey, I wanted to say to you guys, I really appreciate that a lot of you did thank Dr. Wecht. In the comments section of that video, a lot of people thanked Dr. Wecht, and I really appreciate that. You know, he did ask me to send him a link to the final video, so I was assuming he was going to watch it, and hopefully he read some of those comments.
Yeah. Wes Thomas said Courtney Love sent those skunks as a gift. Take them back. I don't want them. Although they're pretty funny. I watched one. It was just about 3 feet in front of me right off our front porch late one night during a rainstorm, was pulling earthworms out of the ground and eating them.
Yeah.
I guess I never knew what skunks ate, but I guess they eat worms.
Yeah, when it rains at night, they pull those big fat earthworms right up out of the soil and eat them. It's pretty interesting to watch, actually.
Kath Octagon says, you were not conned. Augusta May says, I walk my cats and they like it. We were just talking about getting a harness for the cat and walking it.
You can walk a cat. I actually, again, saw an interview with Dave Grohl where he talked about walking his cat. I was like, I didn't even know that this was possible.
Oh.
If they would go along with you. The one we have is still a kitten, so she's very mischievous and
very ornery.
Very ornery cat. And she likes to sleep right on my chest, up by my neck. I'll finally get to sleep at night, and then this cat will jump on me and just sit and purr, just lay down and purr right on my chest.
And she's usually still there in the morning when I get up.
I am glad that our dog gets along with the cat. Like, they're actually like buddies and they play with each other. So that's good. They're not trying to kill each other or anything. I thought about doing a video. I'm not being presumptuous and assuming that anybody would even give a shit, but I have thought about doing a video, behind the scenes video, about my town and like the places my band used to play and where I used to skateboard. And, you know, I think at some point in every YouTuber's channel life, they eventually do like a personal video.
Right. Like
that shows people like who they are and what they're all about. And I've thought about doing that, actually.
They actually just had a big fundraiser this last Saturday at our skate park because it's, what is it, like 20 years old now, to raise money to repair it because it's looking pretty sad.
It's one of the most professional skate parks, I think, east of the Mississippi.
Yeah, it was one of the first, like,
it's
all
got a
concrete.
Go ahead.
It was like one of the first totally concrete.
I'll take some footage of it. This, we're talking like 13-foot drop with 8 foot of vert. Like, it's some professional shit,
absolutely.
dude. And Tony Hawk's been there. Mullins has been there.
Alan Crow says their cat plays fetch. My friend had a cat that would play fetch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think some people take me too seriously, like when I made old cat lady jokes. Like, people seriously... Reddit seems to be the place where people unload their negative opinions. And these two ladies were saying that I hate women and I hate cats. And I was like, how in the fuck do you come to that determination? Number one, I've written several videos about female artists that I admire.
Very much.
Right? And then number two, like, just because I made a cat lady joke, you think that I hate cats?
No, somehow, like, you actually hate an animal? That's absurd.
Mm-hmm.
People are just always, I think, looking to be offended. They're constantly looking like, oh my God, I can't believe you said that. That's so offensive.
Yeah.
Take things way out of context.
Well, not
proportion.
people. It's the loudest people.
Yes.
They're called the vocal minority.
Right.
The vocal minority is always screaming about something wrong that somebody else did because, you know, they're perfect, right?
Absolutely.
They're perfect and everybody else is imperfect. But yeah, that kind of bothered me when I seen that comment. I'm like, I don't hate women. I like when I write videos on Francis Farmer or Mia Zapata, whoever it may be, I know that those videos are not trending. They're not going to get a lot of views. They're not going to make any money. You know, I do it because I admire those women.
Right.
And I feel as though they should be talked about. So, yeah, when some asshole comes along and says, he's misogynistic, he doesn't like women, I'm like, what fucking channel have you been watching? You know?
Oh.
Most of the patrons and a lot of the more positive supporters of the channel are women.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yes, Alderaan is a planet in the Star Wars universe. Someone was asking, what is Alderaan?
Alderaan. Yeah. Why don't you go ahead? We're going to wrap this up within the next 5 minutes. So if anybody has questions for me, questions that if I ever get another chance to talk to Dr. Cyril Wecht, let me see that.
Okay, what's that?
If I ever get another chance to talk to Dr. Cyril Wecht, if you have a question for him, we do have a handful of the Courtney Did It shirts left. I don't think you can see that very well for the microphone.
I can't tell because we're on a delay.
Here, I'll do this. Bing, bang, boom. Boom, bang, beam. So, 23 USD. We need to get rid of the rest of these shirts. I'm not going to print anymore. I spent 100. I'm actually kind of losing money on this endeavor.
A little bit. That's all right.
After paying for them to be printed and the shipping, I'm basically just getting my money back. So if anybody does want a shirt, we have medium, large, and extra large left. 23 USD to myepictales@gmail.com. We'll get you one of those. Can you go ahead and read comments?
Yes. Derek Sendrak asked, how did you get the interview with him, with Dr. Wecht?
Ah, that's a good question. So, in today's society, everybody's connected, man. That guy is a very public figure, and he has a public email. He has a consultation agency. And I simply just emailed and said, hey, my name is blah, blah, blah. Would you talk to me about the Kurt Cobain case? He replied, I'm not sure whether it was him or his assistant, replied the very next day and said, basically, I'm open to talking about it, but who the fuck are you? You know, he didn't say that,
Right.
but in so many words, I'm sorry, I was just reading something. In so many words, you know, it's like, why should I talk to you?
Right.
And so I had to show him that I had an audience. Because, I mean,
And that you knew what you were talking about.
it's not that he thinks he's too good to talk to just anybody. To him, everything, he's very goal-oriented. And is this going to be worth my time? If I do this, will anybody listen to it? You know?
Right.
So I actually had to show him that I had made videos that people had watched. And then once he saw that, he said, oh, okay, yeah, I see that you do have an audience. Sure, I'll talk to you. And it was really that easy, man. It was that easy.
I think he just wanted to make sure he wasn't wasting his time.
He wanted to make sure that I wasn't some crazy motherfucker that was going to
Yes.
make him look stupid.
Yes, absolutely.
Or
because there are cruel people.
there are cruel
like that.
cruel people who would, like we were talking about earlier, who would just want to mess with somebody like that.
Right.
Just to fuck with them, just to see if they could. He wanted to make sure that I was
On the up and up.
legitimate, you
Yeah.
know?
Absolutely.
I mean, if you have like a YouTube channel or a group or something like that and you have an audience, I'm sure he would talk to you too.
Someone asked what color shirts we have. We currently have...
Blue, gray, and red.
That's all the colors we have left are blue, gray, and red.
And there's only about 10 of them left. So
Yes.
and
we have
predominantly large.
medium, large, extra large. Those are the 3 sizes and the 3 colors.
Yeah, there's only 10 or 12 left, and it'll be done.
The
Thank you very much for anyone who has donated or helped support the channel. I mean, these videos do take time, and they take a lot of research, and they take a lot of work. I know it may not seem like it, but I do put a lot of effort into them.
Yes.
So if you've bought a shirt or anything, thank you very much.
The Gmail is myepictales@gmail.com for the PayPal address.
My epic tales.
Jerry and Jenny, did you have a question? If so, I missed it. Oh, here it is. I'm assuming it's Jerry. It usually is. He wants to know what you think of the Red Hot Chili Peppers lyrics. The one, Cobain, can you hear the sphere singing songs from station to station?
Honestly, I don't know what that means. Maybe you could educate me. I know that the Red Hot Chili Peppers wrote a song about Kurt's death, but I can't remember what it's called right off the top of my head. It's a very old song. I think it appeared on their One Hot Minute album. If anybody knows what song I'm talking about.
Yes, please.
Honestly, I don't know, man. I've read a lot of Dave Grohl's lyrics recently, and I think those are very telling from his first album, especially when Courtney Love is bitching, saying Dave Grohl's writing songs about me. So,
oh my God.
So you know that his lyrics are relating to her.
Tearjerker.
Tearjerker, yeah, that's what the Red Hot Chili Peppers song. Let me just throw that up there.
Hopefully it focuses.
Yeah, I'm waiting for a second to see if this camera is going to focus. myepictales@gmail.com.
Oh, I could have just typed that.
Oh, yeah, just go ahead and type it.
My bad. I do know how to type.
Any interesting articles or anything you guys come across, feel free to email them to myepictales as well. Or questions for Dr. Cyril Wecht. You can email those as well. Let's go ahead and start reading off names and where people are from. If you could just, again, type where you're from and we'll read off names. And I love seeing such a big community from all over the world,
awesome.
man. It's really neat. And you can read whatever you see there.
Trisha Livingston said, I finally made it. I just got off work.
Oh, man, we're just closing down.
No, you'll have to go back and watch it.
Trisha is in Texas. I do remember that.
Let's see. Okay, we got Shane. We know Shane, Louisiana. Michelangelo from California. The Hungover Moth, Arkansas. CHD Hawk, Missouri.
Missouri.
Kath Octagon, New York. City Survivor, Cincinnati.
Woo. The Nasty Natty.
Nasty Natty. Crypt Keeper, Myrtle Beach. Yes, the extra large shirts are men's extra large. So
we're gonna be in Florida next month.
Yes.
Back down around what county is it? Fallujah?
Daytona.
Oh, I thought it was Fallujah County. Why am I thinking Fallujah?
It's Volusia.
Fallujah?
Is it Brevard County? I don't know. Somebody educate me.
We'll be in Cleveland at the end of the month and then down in Daytona Beach next month.
The end of November.
If anybody wants to hang out or just stop by and say hello or whatever.
We got Bree from Texas, Valerie, Tennessee, Andrea, Toledo, Nikki Buff, Buffalo, New York, Dakota, North Carolina, Froze Moments, Tennessee.
Toledo's very flat. Isn't West Ohio's very flat?
Yes. Derek Perez, Massachusetts. Grunge Gods from Alabama. Tyson and Bella Reynolds from Washington.
Mobile, Alabama. I've been
Oh.
through all those states. We used to go pick up my step siblings in the spring. They would come stay with us in Ohio during the summer. So we would drive Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, all the way down into Baton Rouge to pick them up.
Is that Kamloops, British Columbia? I hope I'm saying that correctly. That's a
Ah,
mouthful.
British Columbia.
Newfoundland.
Oh, very cool. Newfoundland.
Shane said
Got
stop
that
in.
Viking blood.
Shane said swing by Louisiana on your way to Florida. That's quite the
Well,
pit stop.
I think we do go through Georgia.
Yeah, we go take I-95 just all the way down. Let's see. Rusty from Ohio. Chad from Portland. Social Isolation from the Twin Cities. Outrageous Cat from Canada.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they said yes, Cincinnati. Oh.
I've been meaning to go to a Reds game for years. I haven't been to a Reds game in a long time.
Let's see. Derek said, I'm going to Seattle in 2 weeks
Hell
to
yeah.
see Kurt's house. That sounds fun. One day we'll make it out there. We had plans. We've had plans to go out there, but COVID kind of wrecked those plans.
COVID wrecked everybody's plans.
We got Derek from Connecticut, Diva Danette from Indianapolis, Jen from Las
I've been
Vegas.
out to the Indianapolis Speedway, I think it's
where they
called.
have the Indy 500.
Yeah, there's like a gift shop and like a little restaurant or something out in the middle of the track, or there used to be. This has been a long time ago. My friend and I drove to the Speedway and drove out into the middle of the track. That's really
That'd be fun.
Yeah, it's really cool. Dave Letterman is from Indiana.
Gene Ribalt says, swing through Australia on your way to Florida. Charles is terrified of Australia.
Australia is scary
It
to me,
terrifies him.
because of all the poisonous snakes and insects but I'm sure that you guys have obviously learned to coexist with these things, or there wouldn't be any Australians. So it's silly for me to be scared of Australia, but it does kind of freak me out.
Yeah, not a big spider fan.
Australian people are like really. Have you noticed that Australian people are very attractive? They're just very good looking people.
Sun.
All the sun and the surf and yeah, they're a coastal people. You know, they live along the coast. The interior of Australia gets real rugged and
Yeah.
fucking primitive.
Yeah, not much in the middle except
I
for
think that's where the
spiders.
term a walkabout comes from.
Yeah.
Like Anthony Kiedis said, I think I'll go on a walkabout and find out what it's all about. Talking about taking a trek through the wilderness of Australia.
Yeah. No thanks.
Hmm. And the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, that's where that idea comes from, was a serial killer in the outback of Australia.
Oh.
I mean, the idea is said to come from like Ed Gein and all,
Right.
Right. But the main inspiration for the Texas Chainsaw Massacre was from a serial killer in Australia, the outback of Australia.
Juzu. Oh, Juzu is from Finland. It said only
Finland.
only dangerous animal here is the black bear. Well, we can handle that.
We have bears too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they are very fucking dangerous, especially if you go near their cubs.
Oh, yeah.
Mama bear will fucking maul you. You do not. If you ever see cubs,
Just go.
don't even
Just
fuck
leave.
with them because Mama bear's
She's
watching.
not too far behind.
Yeah, she's watching to see what you're gonna do.
And then she's going to eat your face.
Mm-hmm.
Also,
Much like mothers in real life.
yeah. I will eat your face. Oh, KF says Australia has plants that will kill you. No thanks.
Isn't it weird how that one, I mean, obviously at one point, supposedly all the continents were connected, but it's weird that like Madagascar and Australia, New Zealand have like species that are found nowhere else on Earth that are poisonous or whatever that are found nowhere else. It's crazy. I'd love to go to New Zealand, just to find Mount Mordor and
Stay in the Shire.
stay in the Shire and hang out with the hobbits and all that shit. Man, so we have people from all over.
Yeah.
I always get jealous when people say where they're from.
Right, and we're just...
Where are you from? Ohio.
Right, like...
There are cool parts of Ohio, but we're just not in one of them.
No. And they're far and few between. Let It Bleed Adam said, I'm from Chicago. The Glocks here will kill you. Yeah? Yeah.
Chicago has had a tremendous increase in murders recently. A lot of the police officers are refusing to be vaccinated, so their police force has been reduced, and gunshot wounds are on the rise. Chicago's a dangerous fucking town.
Oh, the Hungover Moss said the Reverend has a scene that will show you just how dangerous mama bears are. We watched that. Remember?
Oh yeah,
Leonardo
the scene where Leonardo DiCaprio. Oh man, that
was brutal.
That is gruesome and very realistic, man.
Yeah.
I think that story is slightly based off of a true story, is it not? In that situation, the only reason he would have lived is because of the snow, keeping bacteria away from his wounds.
Chad Jack said the fentanyl in Portland will kill you. Oh, Jesus. Don't.
Oh, that shit will kill you anywhere.
Yeah. Yes.
And, I'd hate to say it, but an old friend of mine who from high school and, his family, very reputable, very good reputation locally, he went down the wrong path and shit, man, he's sitting in jail right now for selling
fentanyl
laced heroin to somebody who died. And this guy would never hurt a flea, harmless fucking guy, but he went down that road of drugs, and it took him right to prison, man. He's going to end up doing years and years for that shit. And I hate to see it happen, because he's actually a really good guy. He's a really smart guy, but addiction just fucked his life up.
Absolutely. Greetings from Madera, California.
Madera. Now I'm really jealous. I think if I could be anywhere, one of those places would be California, Southern California, obviously. But on the flip side of that, I really like the Scandinavian countries.
Yeah.
Denmark. What's the other two?
Finland, Sweden.
Sweden, Denmark, and right next to it.
I'm no good at European geography.
Shitty shit.
That's your forte.
They're like all right next to each other. Can you keep reading?
Yeah. Juzu said, I once got attacked by a mama bear, almost got my car trashed, but managed to get away. I was at Norway.
Yes.
Thank you.
Norway. There's Norway, Denmark, and Sweden. I think those are considered the Scandinavian countries. Is Newfoundland a part of that?
That's Canada.
Oh, yes. Vinland, yeah.
Finland.
Vinland. The Vikings called it Vinland,
right.
Vineland.
Yes.
Because grapes could grow there.
Oh, we have someone here from Uruguay.
No shit. Denmark, Norway, Sweden, Finland, Iceland, the Faroe Islands. That is the Scandinavian countries.
There we go. We've got that settled.
I think it was Jada Smith, Will Smith's wife, that said her favorite place was Norway, and she talked about how beautiful it was, all the inlets and fjords. How do you pronounce?
Fjords. That's correct.
Fjords.
Fjords.
That's why they became seafaring people, because of all those fjords.
Would you stop?
The inlets and islets, and just play Assassin's Creed Valhalla. But the way she described it really made me want to go there.
I have a friend that went to Iceland, I believe it was, and was in like the thermal baths. She was like,
that would be cool.
She's like, there's just snow everywhere, but we're hanging out in this nice like natural jacuzzi. I'm like, man, that sounds amazing.
That's definitely a land of fire and ice, Iceland.
Yes.
I think there's a lot of volcanoes, underground volcanoes there.
Yeah.
You know that Icelandic people pretty much dominate the. You ever heard of the world's toughest man contest?
Yes. Tough man.
Icelandic men really get into that bodybuilding shit.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and they train in the snow.
Right,
and,
they're crazy.
They train in like really, really rough weather. But I don't know. I'm kind of fascinated with everywhere. Wherever you go, there's something interesting about that place.
Right, as long as you're willing to be open-minded and look around a little bit. Absolutely.
Even Ohio, we have the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
And
the Cincinnati Reds.
And that's about it.
Mm-hmm. That is basically it.
Yes,
Toledo's okay. Toledo's an all right city. Akron, Dayton.
Yellow Springs is all right.
Dave Chappelle hangs out heavy in Dayton and Yellow Springs.
Madison Strip says, I swim in cold water up here in Newfoundland. 2 degrees Celsius water. No.
Wait.
No.
Is Newfoundland where the Trailer Park Boys was? No, that was Nova Scotia.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. The Trailer Park Boys was recorded in Nova Scotia. That's awesome, man. So you're used to it, though. You're used to that kind of temperature. See, in Ohio, the weather changes, so we never get used to it.
No.
In the summer, you're uncomfortable because it's so hot. In the winter, you're uncomfortable because it's so cold. And you never endure a long enough period of time to really become used to it.
And we don't get spring or fall. Like last week.
Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't.
Last week, it was in the upper 80s, like profusely sweating when you go outside. And today, I had to wear a coat. So it's
Yeah, it really felt like one day the leaves were on the trees, the next day they were on the ground.
Right.
Like it's and anybody from Ohio can tell you about our weather. They say in Ohio, if you don't like the weather, wait 5 minutes.
It'll change.
Yep.
Yep.
So I always look forward to going to Florida. I know there are some subscribers who live near Daytona. The last time I went down there, I didn't want to meet anybody because COVID was so heavy. But
Yeah.
I think this year, if any of you around that area want to come to the beach and say hello, feel free to do so.
Oh, the Serpent Mound is cool. That is correct. We do have the Serpent Mound. We do have a lot of awesome Native American mounds here
we have
in Ohio.
some of the largest Indian mounds known.
Yeah.
Ever
Yeah,
found.
the Serpent Mound is
You
really
can
cool.
you can go almost anywhere and find old arrowheads and stuff like that.
Yeah.
From Native
A lot
American
of actually,
tribes.
It's time now to do arrowhead hunting because they just plowed the cornfields and it turns up the arrows and you can just see them laying right on the ground.
Mm-hmm. There's actually a town near here called the Plains, which is built on the Plains Indian burial ground.
Yes.
The whole fucking town is haunted. So,
Oh yes, I grew up there. It was terrifying. Like the
yeah,
house we
weird.
lived in.
I mean, if you're going to build your homes on top of people's graves,
Right, and disrespect their heritage, like I would haunt you too.
yeah.
We have Deborah.
I still need to do a video on the Athens Insane Asylum.
Have you guys watched the new Billy Milligan documentary on Netflix? I think it's called like The Many Minds of Billy Milligan.
I'd planned on doing this video on Billy Milligan, who had several different personalities. He was housed here at the Athens Lunatic Asylum. That's literally what it was called. And I bought a book, and I started reading the book, and then a documentary appeared on Netflix about Billy Milligan.
Yeah.
And I was like, son of a bitch!
I know. He just went to the college bookstore and found a good book on Billy Milligan. And the haunted town in Ohio with the burial grounds, it's literally called The Plains, Ohio. They have huge giant mounds still to this day that are standing
I think who
20
lived
feet
there,
in the air.
they were called the Plains Indians.
Yeah, they were the Plains Indians is what they were called. Yes.
Mm-hmm. I find all that stuff interesting. Europe especially, because they can go back thousands of years, you know. When I was a kid, I wanted to be an archaeologist. That was like my big thing. Do you know why I never pursued archaeology? Have I ever told you this?
I believe you have, but let's tell them.
So weird, because this is what I was thinking when I was like a 10-year-old kid. If I studied archaeology, then I would have to travel, and then I couldn't be with my family because I thought I was going to get married, I was going to have kids, and as an archaeologist, you'd have to be away from your family. So that's why I decided to not pursue that. Isn't that dumb? Had I known then what I know now,
Isn't that
I would have
dumb?
left my family in a heartbeat. No.
You do know that the families can just go with them, right?
Well, if you have enough funding,
Right.
if you have enough money, yeah.
Oh, you crack me up.
Jurassic Park made archaeology look really interesting, right?
Oh, of course.
Made it seem glamorous, romanticized it. I'm sure most of their time is spent like digging 1 inch at a time with a toothbrush.
I was gonna say scrubbing rocks with toothbrushes to see if it's a tooth or a rock or something like.
Yeah. Man, I really appreciate you guys coming and talking to me. It still amazes me that anybody even wants to come and talk with us on live chat. It's a really good feeling to know that there are so many people from so many different places who want to talk about these topics with us. It's really fucking cool.
Bobby Mackey's in Kentucky. I don't know what that is. Somebody asked if we ever go across the river to Bobby Mackey's. Fill me in.
Who's Bobby Mackey?
What's Bobby got?
You talking about the Ohio River or across the river in Boone County, Kentucky from Cincinnati?
That is also the Ohio River?
Yeah, it wraps up around.
You
But
made
I'm
it sound like
saying
we had
on
two
on
rivers.
one side you go into West
Oh,
Virginia,
yes, in
on the other side you go into Kentucky.
correct.
Yeah.
Okay, I was really confused. I was like, we have one river. Did you see in the news where this woman 20 years ago said she was going to commit suicide and by driving her van into the Ohio River with her 2 kids in it, and they found her van this week?
Wait, with her kids in it?
Well, they haven't confirmed, but the kids have never been seen for.
Oh my God, that's
they
horrible.
used radar, like sonar, like I don't know if it was a drone or what, scanning the river, and they found 3 vehicles.
Jesus
And
Christ.
one of them was registered to her. That is insane.
If you have a baby and you're having like postpartum depression, you need to tell somebody.
Please reach out to somebody.
That shit is serious,
It
man.
is postpartum psychosis, postpartum depression. Yes, it is very serious, and I wish more people took it seriously and didn't just call it the baby blues.
Right.
Because that's
the reason the Ohio River is so hard to search is there are catfish as big as rowboats that can swallow a man whole, and divers do not. There are lots of areas of the Ohio River that divers refuse to go in.
no.
Because the catfish are so fucking big.
Yeah. No, I believe what I read that said it was 200 feet off the shoreline and about 50 feet down is where they found it.
That's horrible. Imagine, I don't know, just the terror that those kids would have went through. Like, Mom, what the fuck are you doing?
I know, and they were just itty bitty kids.
Right.
It's just
They didn't even have a choice.
I know.
Anybody want to say their farewells before we go?
Any final words?
We'll be back. I am going to do a Zoom meeting with patrons really soon, within the next week or so. So if you're a patron of the channel and you'd like to join a Zoom meeting for a private chat, that'd be cool. You don't have to use your camera. If you're camera shy, you can just use your microphone. And I like doing those Zoom meetings because I don't have to talk the whole time. I can listen to other people talk.
Right. You can take a break from running your mouth. Although I do think you kind of enjoy it.
Well, sometimes. Sometimes it's nice to just listen to other people and get their point of view.
Absolutely.
So, let's go ahead and wrap this up. And thank you guys again very much.
Yes, thank you.
Anybody wants a shirt, 23 USD to My Epic Tales. We'll get you one sent to your home. I will be coming out with a new Nirvana video very, very soon. And I might have another surprise in store for you really, really soon.
All right. Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
Bye-bye.